Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I just watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings a couple of days ago. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time, and they had some of the craziest post-credit scenes that we've seen in the entire MCU. So who better to turn to than the NewRockstars for their post-credit scenes analysis and breakdown? That's exactly what we're going to be watching today and reacting to. I'm super excited to watch their breakdown and see what they're theorizing for the future of the MCU. So let's go ahead and dive into the video.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Boss, and
What's up,
Shang-Chi
Eric?
and the Legend of the Ten Rings changed the game of the MCU in ways that'll knock you sideways.
And
like
the fight
Abomination
scenes of
versus
Shang-Chi
Wong.
using the
Spoiler warning
rings.
Before we continue, because I'm gonna break
Next
down
level.
this movie's finale and post-credit scenes. Go watch this movie, and I'll be here to help you unpack what the F just happened. Okay, Shang-Chi has two post-credit scenes, but first a quick recap. Shang-Chi, after 10 years of being separated from his crime lord father, Wen Wu, is dragged back into the Ten Rings combat alongside his sister Xiaoling. Wen Wu uses his children to find the hidden kingdom.
I love his suit too, like the dragon skin look to Shang-Chi's costume just looks so fire.
A sealed cave. But when Wu is actually being manipulated by an otherworldly soul sucker beast, who in the past had been fended off by a
I wonder if they're gonna say who that soul sucker beast could be from the comics, because I was watching the movie and I was like, I have no idea who this bad dragon is, so maybe Eric's got an idea for me here.
Warriors of Ta Lo combined with those of the
Let's
Ten
see.
Rings and Katie's archery, Shang-Chi slays the monster.
That was so cool. He's flying through the sky, boom, just murks the dragon.
Party crashing visual effect in the MCU, a portal opens and in comes Wong,
Mr.
whom we
Wong.
saw earlier facing Abomination.
I wish that cameo was longer. That needed to be longer, but oh well. We'll see more of him
After
soon.
he was detained following his battle with Hulk in Harlem, or maybe Abomination is Wong's sparring partner, whom he doesn't mention to Bruce Banner, because the first rule of Wong's Fight Club is you don't talk about hanging out with your friend's enemy. Anyway, Wong brings Shang-Chi and Katie to the Sanctum Sanctorum since they have a lot to talk about, and that brings us to our first of two post-credit scenes. Wong uses his magic to analyze the Ten Rings alongside Shang-Chi and Katie while on a conference call with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and Bruce Banner. They're on one of those hollow projection group chats, similar to the way the Avengers checked in with each other in Endgame. Banner looks noticeably older, and he's back in human form from his seemingly permanent smart Hulk form.
Okay, so I have a theory about that before he says it, just so you know, like, I'm thinking about this on my own. So I think the She-Hulk series is coming out. I think She-Hulk probably takes place before Shang-Chi, and in the comics how she becomes a Hulk is through a blood transfer from Bruce Banner, her cousin. So what I'm thinking is something's going to happen. He's going to transfer his blood over to her. She's going to be the Hulk moving forward in the MCU, and then Mark Ruffalo will pop up as Bruce Banner just for essentially being a scientist and like a mentor for Jennifer Walters' She-Hulk. That's what I'm guessing. I don't think he can even turn into the Hulk anymore. I think he probably has like gamma poisoning or something, and he's aging a little bit quicker now because he no longer can become the Hulk. That's what I'm theorizing here. But let's continue with the video.
But his arm remains in a sling, so the
That's why I think
injury
his arm still hasn't like fully healed too.
Which left him in a sling in Endgame's final minutes is still affecting him physically. Remember, the Ancient One was able to push Banner's human soul out of his Hulk body, so maybe Banner's return to human form was some kind of magic offered by the sorcerers Wong and Doctor Strange.
Okay,
Something
could
we
be
learn
magic,
more
yeah.
about in She-Hulk, along with, by the way, whatever Wong's friendship with Abomination is all about, or maybe something we could learn more about.
I really want to know how he became friends with Abomination. Like, that's just so random.
Avenger buddies random favors. Danvers confirms that the tech isn't Chitauri or any alien tech she has seen. Chitauri, of course, being the warriors of Thanos' army, led by Loki in the first Avengers movie, tech that was later repurposed by Vulture's crew in Spider-Man Homecoming. Banner says the rings aren't made of vibranium.
I think it's Galactus or Fin Fang Foom's rings.
And that these rings are way older than 1,000 years old. Now, we're not too far from winter weather, and if there's leaves on the ground, there should be vesties on your feet. Now, in the comics, the Ten Rings are ancient alien McLuhan tech that crashed to Earth in a spacecraft, and it was from this
interesting
wreckage
name.
that the Mandarin Zhengzhou, the character Wen Wu is based on, stole them. But in the film, it said that Wen Wu might have found these rings in a crater.
Okay, hold on,
but
before we go on, so I do have another theory. So there's 10 rings, and in the comics, the 10 rings was based off of 10 different powers, and in the movie, the dragon, the Great Protector, looks like it was like a water dragon, and it controlled water and everything in that one scene where they were looking at the like statue and put the two necklaces on the dragon and water flowed around and all that. So I think maybe the 10 rings are the McLuhan alien race, but like 10 different like dragons or something like that. I think that would kind of make sense and make more sense for the MCU. If we had like a water dragon, then there's like a fire dragon, which I know sounds kind of dumb because like all dragons technically breathe fire. Well, I guess some of them. Then you could have like a electric and like all these other different powered dragons or something representing each of the rings. That's just my theory on that, but let's keep going.
In comics, each ring contains the soul of a cosmic warrior, and each has different abilities. Abilities that are not shown in the film. All 10 rings seem to give off the same powers of strength enhancement.
So, 10 abilities, 10 different dragons?
These more mystical qualities
maybe
are explored here, because Wong zooms in to show a pulsing beacon summoning something from afar, something threatening to change
maybe
the
Galactus?
MCU as you know it.
There's no going back.
So the question now is, who or what are these 10 rings summoning? If the MCU maintains their McLuhan origins,
Fantastic
that
Four's
threat
coming
could
up.
be from
Galactus,
another planet or from
Avengers
another
level
galaxy.
threat.
If we're looking for ancient beings from the stars, Galactus could be on his way in the MCU. You could also say the Celestials are coming, because we know they're being summoned back to Earth for some emergency.
What if it's a beacon?
Eternals, but I suspect
and
that
Silver
movie might take
Surfer
place in the 7 days after Endgame, which might
is,
set it
like,
before
coming to
Shang-Chi,
Earth
especially since that movie's release
to
date
scout
was
out the
supposed to
planet
be
for
before Shang-Chi
Galactus.
originally, but I cannot give firm answers on the timeline yet. But I will say, based on the way this movie explored Ta Lo, its magic, and its relationship to other realms, I think this threat is more likely to come from another dimension. In the comics, Ta Lo
Okay.
is one of the God realms, a small pocket
Okay.
dimension adjacent to Earth. In the film, it's also the Nexus gateway to an additional realm of the Soul Suckers, with Lovecraftian design
Okay,
elements,
that does kinda
notably
make sense.
Cthulhu or Nyarlathotep, who telepathically
If it was
invades
Cthulhu-
mortals' minds, much like this beast does to Wenwu.
Okay,
You could see
that'd
it
be pretty
similar
crazy.
to how Thor said in Avengers that Fury's work with the Tesseract signaled to all the realms that Earth is ready for a higher form of war. And this beacon could be summoning whatever
Secret War?
interdimensional threat that Doctor Strange and Wong will face in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We've speculated Shuma Gorath, or one of the Elder Gods.
Shuma
The fact that
Gorath?
the same interdimensional tentacle monster just made a second appearance in
Oh,
this
it's like a
episode
fruit
of
fly
What
over here.
If
Get out of
after
here. I'm
the
trying to watch a
pilot
breakdown,
makes
bro.
pretty strong case that one of these many-angled ones could be the threat on the horizon, along with perhaps other devilish mystic entities we
Mephisto!
saw hints of in episode 4. But we should
What if
also
it is
consider
Mephisto the whole
Chthon,
time?
the ancient demonic author of the Darkhold,
Okay.
and in the comics,
Chthon
one
would
of the
make
first
sense.
Wanda Maximoff with her sorcery, or figures like Nightmare, or
Nightmare could also make
Mephisto, whom
sense.
I only
And
bring
so
up
could
because It's
Mephisto.
interesting that in this movie, this voice promised you, quote, your greatest desires, implying some kind of
True.
Faustian
Okay,
manipulation.
okay.
But
On the
maybe a
Mephisto
sign that
train again.
Marvel, rather than going the strictly Christian biblical take on this character as in the comics, might instead reintroduce him as a more non-denominational evil with forms specific to all cultures. And perhaps entities
Okay.
like this mega soul sucker and Dormammu and Eliath and Loki
Dormammu.
were all buffer predators kept at bay by protectors within our reality. But now that these border beasts have been slayed and the walls
That
have been
scene
shaken,
was so
even more
sick in the
dangerous
movie.
predators from beyond have arrived to exploit the Scarlet Witch, Peter Parker, and Loki's destabilization of reality in the MCU in order to feast on that madness. The good news is now
Okay.
Shang-Chi will join that fight because as Carol Danvers jets after an emergency call, maybe some threat she'll have to deal with in the Marvels, Banner jokes how he never got Danvers' number. I guess only Nick Fury has that pager access. And they tell Shang-Chi, welcome to the circus, an informal invitation to the Avengers. And Shang-Chi, Katie, and Wong celebrate by singing karaoke, including Hotel California, which was Katie's Art of Confusion
That was like the
song.
perfect way to end it. All
Now,
of
the
them
second
singing that
post-credit
song.
scene catches up with Xialing, whom Katie and Shang-Chi believe to be dismantling the Ten Rings after the battle, but instead she takes over her father's throne and expands the Ten Rings operation. At her side
that's gonna
are
be
Razor
interesting.
Fist and John, who ran her Macau club.
I
In
definitely
front of
think
them,
it's going to
there
be
is
like
Cage's
Shang-Chi
trade
versus his
paperwork,
sister
perhaps
in maybe
planning
like
the
Shang-Chi
fighting
2 or
tournament we
3.
thought we might see in this film. You'll
They'll
notice
probably
among these
butt
trained
heads,
warriors
and
are
she's
a
probably like,
group
I
of
deserve
female
those rings, you
warriors
don't, I'm a
sparring
better
with
fighter
males,
than you,
and
something
street
like
art
that.
covering the walls of the compound, and then the title flashes on screen, The Ten Rings Will Return. You may notice how the framing and tone here does evoke the post-credit scene of The Mandalorian Season 2, in which Boba Fett
True, I did did get those
throne
vibes
Jabba
of
the Hutt,
Boba Fett
occupied by
sitting
the
on the
Fortune
throne there.
setting up Boba Fett's upcoming series, The Book of Boba Fett.
Can't wait for
Makes me
that
wonder
series.
if the Ten Rings could
Whew.
appear next in a Disney Plus series in which the MCU's best warriors are matched up against each other in a grand
That would be
tournament.
cool.
Like Wong versus
Imagine just like
Abomination could
a
have been just a taste of it, baby. She-Hulk
like
versus
a MCU
White Vision versus Red
WWE
Guardian,
style
a melee of all
show.
the Loki
That'd be
variants,
cool.
A melee among all the Peter Parkers, and the winners face off. Finish them. Keep an eye out for my Shang-Chi Easter egg breakdown coming tomorrow on the New Rockstars channel. And you can support New Rockstars by checking out our merch option.
All right,
NewRockstars
that's
merch.
it. So yeah, some pretty interesting theories from Mr. Eric Voss over at the New Rockstars. Everything he said definitely makes a lot of sense. Like, this could definitely be an other dimension type villain. It could be Mephisto, Nightmare, or just someone else entirely. But personally, I think it might be either Galactus or the McClellans. I think I pronounced it right there. McClellans, I just think it would make a lot of sense to bring a bunch of, you know, alien dragon-looking characters into a future Shang-Chi movie, and I think it would tie to the rings pretty well too. There was some rumors before the movie came out that the rings actually belonged to Fin Fang Foom, which they still could by all means, and I think it would make a lot of sense if instead of 10 different warriors' abilities on the rings like in the comics, that the 10 rings, like the bracelets that we saw in the movie, represent 10 different dragons. I think that would be really, really cool, and especially if all of the 10 dragons had special abilities catered to each individual. Like, for example, the Great Protector could be like a water type dragon, and the rest had their own special abilities. I think that would be really, really cool, but I also think this could be our first introduction to Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Like, maybe that beacon is a way of summoning the Silver Surfer to go and scout out a planet for Galactus to consume. I think that would make sense too, especially because we have Fantastic Four coming up pretty soon in a few years, and Marvel likes to lay the groundwork years before the actual characters show up, and I think this would be a great way to bring Galactus into the MCU. But that's just my thoughts on the post-credit scene. I thought it was a really, really good post-credit scene. Definitely one that gets you thinking and gets you excited for the future of the MCU. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about the post-credit scene. Who do you think is going to show up after the beacon started going off? And also, what did you think about the Shang-Chi movie? I thought it was great. If you guys do want to see my full-on thoughts about the movie, I did post a review on the channel. But yeah, that was a really solid breakdown, and there's a lot of great possibilities that could happen because of that scene. But yeah, that was a really solid breakdown by the New Rockstars, and I'm really excited to see who is going to be coming to Earth because of that beacon going off. That's pretty much it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you like and subscribe. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.